The barbershop has always been, as they said, Cedric the Entertainer said in the movie, the black man's social club. And in barbershops, men talk a number of conversations. And then once upon a time, the barbershop was able to be that way because it was mostly men in there. And what we find out that most of these black men, like the young men we work with, have failed relationships in their lives. And even though they may have been 40, 50, and 60 years old, they had still issues from their teenage years that they never closed the door on or never got assistance on, and they put it away. And from there, you see the acting out, the walking away from families, the domestic violence at times. When it comes to healing, we can't heal others till we heal self.
Hey, shalom, shalom, most high Christ bless. Hey, it's Officer Yahweh, Officer Benai. About to do this next episode of Barbershop Talk. We are in, well, we're actually in Seattle on Rainier Street, but we're at J Styles Barbershop. Alright, this area used to be all Israelites, basically. So-called blacks and Latinos. Now this area has been heavily gentrified. This barbershop still remains right here for years. Alright, stay tuned.
Now you can figure something out that the what? Read that Psalm 33 again? Because what we don't realize, the world, meaning the other nations, all conspire together, and they have spent trillions of dollars. People don't realize that the most money spent economically around the earth is to keep us not knowing that we are the Israelites. From the movie broadcast, to the TV shows, to the things that you see outside Joe Barbershop down the street. Don't you know world economics started with the Israelites?
To even how much America gives the money to the land of Israel.
Right.
How much money
because they all agree that that's the Holy Land. They never said that, but they don't tell you who the true people of that Holy Land is. Don't you know the Senate, the Congress, all that started to downplay the Israelites? Because we know, okay, that's the so-called white man stuff, right? Right? Politics, right?
Democracy.
All that, right? Well, we have the historical facts. They started a Senate house so they could vote on how to go against the Maccabees, which were Israelites from the tribe of Levi. You see that? And again, you can just go look up Maccabean revolt, regular history. You don't got to read the Bible. But guess what? It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. We don't want that. We want Deuteronomy. We want Psalm 33. Read it again.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83,
Okay,
verse 4. And they said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
They consulted together. Every nation is confederate against the Israelites. To make us not realize that we are the Israelites. To make us continue to think we are the Mexican, we are the Puerto Rican, we are the Native American, we are the black man, we are the Cuban, we are the Jamaican, we are the Haitian, we are the Colombian, we are an Aztec warrior, we are the Byzantine Empire. But they don't want us to know that we are the Israelites. They let us be anything else but the Israelites.
That's right.
And then Kenny could have came on TV and said he was the true Islamic person. They wouldn't have cared. But he said he the Israelite. Oh, you gotta get shut all the way down. You see that? It don't matter. You can be anything you want to be, but that Israelite. How come?
Deshaun Jackson happened the same thing to him.
Because they spent trillions of dollars to make sure you never believe that you're Israelite. You can go be anything you want to be on this earth, but the Israelite. As soon as you say that, we got issues with you. Why? Read that part again. They are what?
For they For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Because every nation has come together. And it is listed. But the list that they list is the biblical name of the nation. Read.
The tabernacles of Edom.
So, unless you do the research, you don't know who Edom is. We've done the research. Edom is the so-called white man. Right? Edom goes into Idumea. They know. When you say, they may not know that Edomite, but they know Idumea. That's the original Greek Empire. You see that? Edom is nothing but Idumea. Read on.
The Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites, they still go by Ishmael. Right? The Arabs, they still go by Ishmael. So they know that they'll tell you I'm an Ishmaelite, right? A man came up to us, we was teaching downtown Seattle, and told me, I'm an Ishmaelite. Oh, wow. They still know that they're the Ishmaelite. Read.
Of Moab.
Moab. The Moabites, you can go look it up. Moabitess princesses. It's going to say China. They still call them princesses, Moabite princesses. China. What's their bomb called? Moab. They know they're Moab. China. Read.
And the Hagarenes.
The Hagarenes, the so-called Africans, meaning the ones that was named after Scipio Africanus. They know that they're not an Israelite, though. We've always had that discussion. Well, we're all Africans. How come they come trying to save us? Because the Bible tells you, and then historical history tells you. But in history, it says that we sold ourselves. Would you sell your own family member? Who would do that? For some wine or for whatever? You're not going to sell yourself, but you will sell another nation, huh? Yeah. Yeah, we may be all black, dark skinned. We may be all brown, different shades of brown, but we're not the same nation.
How come you're not putting that out? And the lady paused and was like, we're not able to distribute out that information. And then hung up on us.
Part of that's that hormones.
Yeah.
Is what it's causing. That's why it's causing it, is because we put so many hormones into these milks nowadays instead of having the organic milk that's from farm to table. And honestly, if you think about it, getting back to going and growing your own vegetables, growing your own, having animals that producing your eggs for you that you're getting out of your own backyard, that's really what we're starting to miss. Our world is so electronic now and so on demand that we're not. If we went back to what our ancestors did, it would.
By the end of the day, again, coming back to what we're saying. If the people, bro.
All Foods to file. I know you want to go to All Foods to file.
Let it be.
Go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it. Hey, look. This is what the Bible say anyway.
Hey, but who wrote that though? Who wrote the Bible?
Well, the Bible says God did.
Look at Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles.
The Bible already say that our bread was going to be defiled. And our food was going to be defiled. I mean, all praises that we're doing the research on it, but at the end of the day, God already said it's going to be defiled.
That's why when you go look into it, you always find some sort of defilement in the food.
Every time.
I remember when, I don't know about, it's been some years now, maybe like 2013 or something. It's been a long time ago. They said, peanut butter's bad, ketchup's bad, jelly's bad. I forget what comedian said, we can't eat nothing.
The ingredients, all those things.
Right.
Surprise.
Because a lot of people try to say, oh, it's a color thing with you guys. No, it's not. It's just about truth, and we figured it out. That's all. So another nation that's the same color as us sold us. That's why history. And guess what? When the Grecians came over to Africa, it was buying us from the Hagarenes and the Philistines, right? They knew that we wasn't the same either. But they will tell you in his story that, oh, you guys all sold yourselves. No, we didn't. Joel chapter 3 in the Bible tells you really even Tyre and Sidon. What did you read it?
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre?
In Zidon,
right on.
You see that? Another African nation, so-called African nation. Afrikaners. Why? Because of the Second Punic War. Like I said, you can look that up. When Afrikaners defeated Hannibal. Hannibal, guess what? Wasn't Israelite. Go back.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 7. Gabal and Ammon and Amalek.
So, Gabal, the Hagarenes are also called Israelites, right? Now, not Israelites, sorry, Africans. Ammon, the so-called Japanese man. Just like China says Moabitish princesses, Ammon says Ammonitish princesses. They still know who they are. That's why they go back to the Shushan, the Shanghai dynasty, huh? Do we got any dynasties that we can go back to? But we started civilization, right? And Africa tells us we are the first man, which is true. But how come, as a culture, as a nation, we don't have no dynasties to go back to? So we just got on, God brought us on this earth to be slaves, is that what it is? No. That's why we have a conscious community today, because we know there's more to that, isn't it? You see that? So they all know still who they are. The Palestinians know who they are. Everyone knows who they are going back 1,000 years, but who? So-called black man, so-called Mexican, so-called Haitian, so-called Cuban, so-called Puerto Rican. All of these dudes gotta find themselves through what? Some sort of captivity. When the Dutch man came over, when the English explorer came over, when the French revolutionists came over. That's between all of us, the Native Americans, the so-called black, the Latinos. We all end up with the same conclusion when we have to go do what? Figure out who we are. How come we're the only ones though? You ain't never heard an Arab man say he had to figure out who he is. You ain't never heard of Chinese, or Japanese, you ain't never heard of, look, the so-called white man will tell you that he's French. I'm French my parents come from France. I have a city or a town or a country to go back to. You see that? I'm Russian. Now they're all the nation of Edom according to the Bible, right? But they know, no, I'm Russian. No, I'm Italian. No, I'm Portuguese. No, you see that? What do we all say? Black. We're coloring the crayon box. Or we're African American. We descend from we descend from a Roman general. That's Leo Scipio Africanus. We descend from an Italian explorer. That's Amerigo Vespucci. Right? And again, you just find these things in regular history, right?
Jay, you said it earlier.
What's in your wallet?
Nah, you're talking about Joe Biden.
Joe Biden!
Nah, but the other one who got the best chance is the newcomer. What's his name? Bloomer. He got the chance. Hey, Bloomer's a treat. Hey, see what Bloomer started?
And they hosted him on his first time.
Hey, now he started throwing up commercials.
Yeah, you see this commercial? Hey, did you see this? No, but did you see the background though? You got to pay attention to the background.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Remember when he was walking and one of the first he was walking, they had all the little black kids and the black ladies was with one of the other people. I was like, we gotta stay woke. So many numbers, it's so crazy.
And more people of color come out and vote. They advertise it. Come on. On the news right now, all you hear is, it's about the black vote. It's about the black vote.
People can see that's not what it's all about. It's about opening up your mind and seeing reality. And like you went into the Bible and addressed everything that's going on in society, and you have to explain it in detail. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And that's exactly what we want too. We want to show another side because, like you said, like even with the Israelite community, they show us, blasting on the street or look how they're yelling at the people. But they don't even understand that Christ went in turning over tables. You know, the prophets had to deal hard. God told the prophets like Ezekiel and Jeremiah, make your face hard against their face. Why? Because we're rebellious, hard-headed people. You know, but yeah, that's exactly our goal. So all praises that you can see it and realize it. because that's definitely our goal, to show the other side, like, no, man, this is about realizing things. This is about understanding what's really going on, you know? And yes, we don't, you know, and like you said, because of how we was taught, how we was growing up, we don't even realize that this is our book. It was written by us, you know, it was written for us, and we don't realize that, so. Whatever.
Hey, so there we have it, man. Hope you guys liked the episode. Hopefully there's some edification in it. You guys learned something from it. Hey, what did you think? What did you think of this?
I thought it was great, especially coming from the community that I grew up in, for them to still be here, for them to be open and willing for us to come in and shine a light upon them that God has bestowed upon us, to be able to come back and give them the word. It was great. They received it. All praise to the Most High. We got to keep on doing the work.
And all praises to the Most High, man. So there you have it. Again, hey, Overseer Yari, Overseer Benai, IUIC Seattle. Stay tuned. We're going to have more episodes of Barbershop Talk.
The scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know your history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance for time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine. Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me not go back, nor retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want to me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life, I swear the damn thing.